So at the beginning of this year, I had pretty much already decided I was going to leave EXP and go over to Real. And that's when an agent reached out to me and said, hey, at least consider Epic. And since I'm usually open, I try to be open to all opportunities. I did. I looked into it pretty deeply, and there was a day or two where I was pretty sure that I was going to end up going to Epic. But the reasons I ultimately did not are not the reasons that I usually hear people talking about. So that's why I wanted to make this video. And, it's not, my concern over the sustainability of everything that they're offering, because I think it probably is sustainable. It's not my concern over, the stock ultimately going public or not. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. And it's also not because, I'm like everybody else and want to make fun of the free car wash offer. It's not that either. Who wouldn't want free car washes? Hope they know I'm not with Epic. But before I can really explain exactly why Epic didn't work for me, I need to take a step back and tell you what I was looking for when I switched brokerages, and help you understand a little bit about how basically the Epic model works, just in case you don't know. So with the decision of leaving EXP, I had 4 main problems that I really wanted to address with a new brokerage. Number 1, I wanted to get away from the reputation of being with a company that is all about recruiting. That just never was me. Obviously, I'm making videos now to tell people about Real, but I'm just giving you the information, and people are searching. And if you find this video, that's great. If you get down there and drop a like or leave a comment, that's even better. And if you would like to know more about Real, I would love to get on a video call with you to answer all your questions about that. And you can book that at the link down below. But as far as to go and approach people and try to, hey, come on, that's never been me. And I didn't like that was the reputation that EXP had. I felt like it actually hindered conversations where somebody was maybe at another brokerage and they could definitely benefit from the EXP model, but they just already had their guard up anytime EXP was mentioned because of that reputation, that it just made it really hard for somebody, at least on a local level, to break through. Secondly, I'm kind of a techie guy. If you look around my office here, I got all kinds of stuff going. And that's one of the things that initially attracted me to EXP. It's the modern, new cloud brokerage, tech focused. And when I got there, I really just felt like maybe it was a few years ago, but there's really not a lot of new innovation going on. Now, I'm sure some people will want to disagree with me on that from EXP. In some areas, I'm sure they are, but I don't understand why EXP doesn't have they don't have a functional app. There's no app period at all where I can keep track of, my transactions and everything. With Real, I can keep track of everything with the app on the phone. So I thought it was weird that as a tech company, I didn't have some basic things like that, and not just an app, but other things. Number 3, I really wanted to be with a brokerage that kind of embodied a culture of collaboration and helping each other out, and not just within a specific downline, but one that kind of promotes that across the board and even beyond the boundaries of that brokerage. Because I really do believe that going into the times that we're going into in the real estate industry, that's the type of mindset and mentality that we need to really take us forward. And number 4, it would be nice to have a little more money in my pocket. So if I could save some money compared to what I was paying at EXP and maybe have some additional revenue streams through the brokerage, that would be great, including maybe having the stock price go up. And the way that I see the stock price going up is the brokerage being innovative, not just by trying to be a better brokerage, but trying to find those additional revenue streams for the company and the agents. So with those in mind, let's briefly run through the Epic model, the caps, the splits, what they offer, and then just what I see them doing as a company. So first off, the basics. They are on an 85-15 split, just like Real is, but they start out with a $15,000 cap. Now, the good thing there is that cap does reduce from $15,000 down to $10,000, $1,000 a year, every year up to 5 years. So after you've been with the company for 5 years, your cap will then be $10,000 indefinitely. Similar to EXP, you have a monthly fee at Epic, and it is $149 a month if you pay it monthly, or $99 a month if you'll pay the whole year upfront at once. And up until this point, there's nothing radically different from Real or EXP. It's just tweaking the numbers a little bit here or there. But the next thing is where things do start to get a little different, and that is with their transaction fee, which starts on the very first transaction. Both Real and EXP start it after you cap. So after you hit your annual cap, then you start paying a transaction fee. And if you pay enough of those transaction fees at Real and EXP, you'll hit their icon or elite status. Over here at Epic, you're paying that from the very first transaction, and it's 0.1% up to $500 on each transaction. And that 0.1% transaction fee is calculated off the gross sale price. So if you sell a $400,000 house, then your transaction fee is going to be $400. Now, there are a couple of positive upsides about having that transaction fee. Number one, it's going to help out a lot when we start talking about all the things that they offer. And number two, it does make it a little easier to hit their version of Elite or Icon Agent, which is called Power Agent. And for them, you've got to do 24 transactions in a calendar year or hit $10 million in volume production. Which, if you go look at the spreadsheet I've got down in the description that shows a breakdown of the Real and EXP numbers, you'll see that it takes roughly between 29 and 35 transactions or so, depending on your average sale price, to actually hit that Elite or Icon status there. So the fact is you can come over here and do it with 24 transactions, that's going to make that a lot more accessible to agents, especially if you're out in more rural communities where the prices just aren't going to be as high. Now, speaking of their Power Agent program, what you're going to get for that are a couple main things. First off, if you're participating in revenue share, which means you're recruiting agents or you've got agents, you're sponsoring agents into the company at Epic, you're going to get up to $1,500 per agent. So on your front line, if you're a Power Agent, that will double up to $3,000. Now, caveat to that, they do have to be, their cap has to be the $15,000 cap. So as their cap reduces, so does your maximum revenue share potential from those agents. And number two, you get $15,000 or 1,500 shares of Epic stock. And this is the key part here, whichever is less. That's what it says. Now, they've told me on a call that their intention is for that to be you getting your cap back just like you do at EXP. But the thing is, that stock would have to be worth $10 a share for your 1,500 shares to be worth $15,000 when it ultimately vests in 3 years. So that means they're really depending on, at some point, going public with that stock, which to me is a great potential possibility, but there's really just no guarantee to it at all, especially with the real estate climate that we're going into. But as I understood it when I was initially having those calls and conversations with people at Epic, that stock could potentially be worth a lot more than $15,000 when it vests in 3 years. So if you're unfamiliar, at Real and at EXP, any stock awards, they have to vest for 3 years. Same thing here at Epic. But if that stock, let's say it was worth $25 in 3 years, then your 1,500 shares is worth a lot more than $15,000. That's how I understood it. And that seems to be the opportunity that they were communicating to me. But I recently heard another agent with Epic on another podcast say that once you hit that 3-year mark, it doesn't matter what the stock is. If it's over that, you're still only getting the $15,000 worth of stock. So that part I'm not sure about. If you're with Epic and you know some more details on that, put it down in the comments, because I just don't know. And lastly, before we get into all of the benefits that they offer, the revenue share at Epic does have the potential to be a pretty valuable proposition for you, because you don't have to unlock any of those levels like you have to do at other companies. You automatically have all 5 levels open, and you can earn a max of up to $1,500 per agent, regardless of what level in your downline that they're in. All right, so now we got the numbers out of the way. Let's get into the part that you hear about the most, the free, everything's free, all the stuff you get for free. And you get a lot of stuff. However, I would challenge it and say it's really not free. I mean, nothing ever is. It's more like it's included. You're paying that transaction fee, you're paying the monthly fee, and maybe you are getting a discounted group package rate on a lot of these things, but it's really not free. So take all that in there with that, and now I have to look at the specific things that affect my business, particularly some of the advertising they do, the billboards, the signs. When you look at all that, it's very Epic branded. Now, they'll put the agent on there, but it's very Epic branded. I don't have control of that, so I didn't really like that. And if I ever want to grow, I come in, this is great, I'm getting all this stuff, but I want to grow beyond that. Hey, I want to grow my own brand, have my own branding, do all this stuff. Well, you can still do that at Epic, but you're still going to be paying that transaction fee. You're still going to be paying that monthly fee, while you have to now go out and pay for your own advertising, signs, billboards if you want them. And so to me, that was just kind of a wash, because I want to have that control. And I really think it's better for agents to have the ability to grow out of that. It's probably a huge benefit if you're a new agent, or if you're an agent who doesn't do a ton of business, or you're not really worried about growing a big brand. This could be a good model for you. But if you do want to grow and build and have a brand, which I think is very important, you're never going to be able to grow out of that with Epic without basically paying for it twice. So I didn't really like that about it. And I'll admit there are plenty of scenarios here where this may be a better model for some agents. And I'm happy to recommend some people with Epic. If you want to send me a message and ask, I will send you some people to talk about Epic if that's what you want to do. But if you are an agent who really wants to have that control and build your own brand and grow a business, I just don't see how this works for you. I don't see how this works for bigger teams. And when I'm thinking about that, if you're not going to bring in the big producing agents, if you're not really going to bring in the teams, that's your big revenue generators that are going to help your stock value grow, because there's nothing else at Epic. There's no other revenue streams at the company, really. It's all about being a better brokerage. And if you remember, one of my core things, I wanted a brokerage that was innovating beyond that, finding other ways for the company and the agents making money. I don't see that at Epic. I see them trying to be a better brokerage, and I think they accomplish that on some levels, but I don't see them doing things beyond that. And, when I talk to them and they say that their stock is going to IPO at $20 or $25 a share, I just don't see it working in that. Again, especially in the real estate environment that we're going into, I think the 10 is probably, a little bit of a stretch. But what do I have to say? It's not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. I don't know. I'm just looking at this from the only angle that I know to look at it. And secondly, this is a big one. I felt like Real, when I looked at Real, they did things within their revenue share with the culture and the values of the company to really protect the culture at that top level and encourage it all the way down. And EXP didn't really do that in the same way. And so I thought that was a great improvement in Real. But when you look at Epic, it looks like not only have they not put those safeguards in to stop people from just being sole recruiter agents and really getting that reputation of, hey, all we're here to do is recruit, like people seem to think about EXP, they haven't just not gotten rid of it. They've doubled down on it. If you go anywhere online, you see they are recruiting, they're holding recruiting events, and they're doing all these things. And I think they're probably going to grow because they have a pretty attractive value proposition. It's free. How do you beat free? So there are a lot of agents that are actually going to be attracted to that. They're going to go to it because for them, it makes sense. But for the vast majority of everybody else who doesn't jump on that initial wave of this, I feel like you're going to be looked at the same way that everybody in the industry looks at EXP. It's going to become very difficult to have those conversations with anybody, even if they would hugely benefit from the Epic model. As soon as they hear Epic, they're tuning you out. Whereas at Real, you cannot be a just sole recruiter agent. You have to be in production to participate in revenue share. You can't offer people things to come in and put you as your sponsor at Real. If you're going to provide anything, whether that's coaching, training, anything like you see people doing, at some of the other brokerages here, you can't do that at Real. You have to make that available to anyone. So you're building this great network. And I also really like the ability at Real to co-sponsor agents. So if you're watching my video, I can help you find a co-sponsor in your local market so that you're not relying on me to kind of be there for you. You've got somebody else there close by and they can help you out. They'll know your market better. They can answer your questions and work together with you. And I think that just builds a better network and a better culture where we're all collaborating and helping each other out. So to wrap that all back around to my 4 main concerns and to see really Epic does solve a couple of those, but not all 4. The first was just the reputation and protecting that. Obviously you can see what happened with EXP and just people's general perception there. There's nothing that's protecting that at Epic. I just see them heading down the same road. Now with tech, I think they're doing a lot of great things with tech. I haven't gotten any hands-on experience, but I know they've got a good focus on tech and some things. So I expect they're going to have something like that will be at least fairly comparable to Real, or maybe what Real had in some earlier stages. Hopefully Real is a little bit farther along. The culture of collaboration, it seems like there's a little bit of that there. I haven't seen it as much at Real, but they are a lot smaller, so I'm not going to hold that against them. But lastly, on the ability to make more money from different revenue streams and having that kind of innovation at the company beyond just being a better brokerage, I don't really see that. I think they're doing some things to definitely become a better brokerage, but Real is doing some stuff that I just have not seen anywhere else, like with the upcoming Real Wallet, with the white label program for teams and the pro teams program where they can come in and kind of keep their structures the same. They're just doing things that I haven't seen anyone else do. And to me, that gives me a feeling that there's going to be stability and the growth in the stock value and just in the company as a whole, and my ability to make money in other ways than just doing more real estate transactions. So y'all, that's just how I looked at this for myself, making my own personal decision. And obviously you may be in a different position or have different priorities, and that's totally okay. Epic might be a great fit for you. And I'm sure there's some of y'all out there, and I'd love to hear from you, that think I'm missing something here with Epic. And if so, feel free to put that down there in the comments. But if you'd like to know a little bit more about Real specifically, I'd love to get on a video call with you. The link is down there. We can get on and I can answer whatever questions that you have about that. And if I don't know the answer, I will go find it for you. And I guess if you want to know maybe the top 5 reasons why Real was my choice, check out the video right there, and I'll see y'all on that one. Well, if you're around Flowood, Mississippi, this car wash did a great job, although I did confirm after today, it won't be free if you're not with it.